Alright guys, what I've got set up today is I think a pretty neat little test. Like many of the tests and ideas I come up with, I came across it by accident. What I've got in front of me here is on the left side a Wiha Torx bit in T30, and on the right side a Craftsman USA Torx bit in T30. Underneath the Jeep here, I'm getting ready to do a transmission service, change the oil in the filter, and the fasteners that hold the transmission pan clamps on are T30. And I've got kind of a way to show the difference between a really high quality bit and kind of a prosumer grade bit. And I'll get that shot set up and then I'll show you what we're working with here. Okay, here we are underneath the JK, and these clamps, and that's kind of what they look like, little clamps really. They're kind of, well, they're sort of little clamps that hold the transmission panel. The bolts in them are T30. So what I'm going to do is take the ratchet and put the ratchet with the different bits on, the prosumer Craftsman USA bit, and then the nice Wiha bit, and I'm going to show how much slop there is in the individual bits, and you can tell me what you think about whether or not the nicer bit is worth the money. So the first thing I'm going to do is spray out each of these holes in these bits with a little brake cleaner. Get them nice and clean. So the first thing I'm going to do is load the Craftsman bit on, and I'll set up the test on the Craftsman bit on this fastener right here. So I'm going to take the Craftsman bit and I'm going to get it into the groove there, and I'm going to set the ratchet to square, and you can see it's as pushed in as it can get. And then at the handle union on the snap-on ratchet, we'll take the T-square, or speed square rather, and get a measurement. So right there, and we get right about 2.5 inches to center. Now, I'm going to repeat that with the Wiha bit. So now the Wiha bit's on, and I'm going to get it in, get us back to our same position, give it a nice push, and then I'll put the square on it. And in slop we get just over 2 inches. So what that means is this Wiha bit is more straight in or wobbling less in this fastener. Let's see if we can get similar results on another fastener. So I'm going to come here to the very next one, and I'm going to leave us set up for square, and I'm going to measure us in the same spot, just coming in a different direction. And lighting's a little awkward there, but right at 2 inches. And let's switch back to this Craftsman bit here, and let's check it. Okay, on the last bit, on the last spot, the Craftsman bit measured at 2.5. On this one it measures at just over 2. Still not right at 2 where the Wiha bit measured, but it did measure a little better this go around. So we'll come over to this one, and I'll be doing the Craftsman first this time. So that's in well and set up at 90 degrees and just hanging. And we come in right at 2.5 inches. So now we're set up with the Weeha bit, and just to show you I'm not putting it in any particular way to give myself a certain result. There she goes. Nice push there, and let's see what we measure. So we measure at about 2 3/8 there. So a little better than the Craftsman still, but not as good as some previous results. So let's continue on with this Weeha bit. Okay, there we go. It's very booby trap like this one is. Let's see what it measures. And it comes right about 2 1/4 center. Okay, I've got the Craftsman bit loaded, and let's see what it measures. And on this one, the Craftsman bit measures just over 2 1/4. Well, you might be thinking these bits aren't the same size. Looks to me like they're pretty much spot on. And I did take the time to really make sure they were. This Weeha bit comes in with a set screw. So I have this bit actually set out of its base in order to do this test. And you tell me what you think. Are nicer bits worth the money? Or are prosumer or Taiwanese bits good enough? Okay guys, I realized that test was far from perfect or far from scientific, but it was the test that presented itself. Now, as far as it being far from scientific, I get it. I see the same shortcomings you do, but let's be clear, only one variable changed in the whole test, and that was the bits. In other words, it was the same ratchet, the same measuring device, the same fasteners, the same fastener mounting system, the transmission pan. So the same shortcomings that were presented to the Craftsman USA bit were presented to the Weeha bit, and 4 out of 4 times the Weeha measured with tighter tolerances than the Craftsman bit. So it's just better. There's just no way around it. They're just better. Now, better as far as fitting the fastener, yes. Better as far as less likely to break under a high torque situation, yes, they're better. Better as far as not likely to round fasteners, yes, they're better. But rust. So these Craftsman bits, these Craftsman USA bits are older than 5 years old, for sure. These Weeha bits are not quite 5 months old as far as their time in my toolbox. And already some surface rust on a couple of them. Now, I'll go ahead and give you a heads up. I find this to be a problem with any of these gray coated tools, in that they just, whatever this gray coating is, if it's even a coating, it may just be the bare metal. But this gray stuff, it'll rust. Snap-on pliers, for example, they'll rust if you don't spray something on them. Whereas black phosphate is, you know, it's pretty much a rust inhibiting industry standard. So there you go, guys. Tell me your thoughts, and as always, like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks.